Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars franchise seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but let's not forget about their new Star Wars TV shows, both in the form of animation and live action, as well as their new Star Wars trilogy and their spin-off films that they are currently developing. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that they are now currently in a phase of desperation and damage control that they're really trying to get out of, by the way, by having George Lucas, Jon Favreau, and Dave Filoni work together as a team to really deliver as much authentic Star Wars material as possible. That's exactly what they want to embrace, is that they really want to bring back a lot of Star Wars Legends content to the big screen and at home on Disney+. Now, one thing that we all can agree on is that the sequel trilogy had a very rough, I guess you could say, production. You know, The Force Awakens went pretty smooth, but The Last Jedi, overall had a lot of problems behind the scenes. But The Rise of Skywalker, by far, had the biggest issues out of every single Star Wars movie in the Skywalker saga. We had Kathleen Kennedy interrupting and deleting so many different segments from the film. I mean, at one point in time, it really got ridiculous to where everything was being done at last minute. It's one of the main reasons as to why it took so long for us to even get a little teaser trailer leading all the way up until Star Wars Celebration back in April of 2019. Now, with that being said, of course, what's really exciting all has to do with one major project that Bob Iger, Bob Chapek, George Lucas, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, and other creators are working on, and that is a brand new cut of The Rise of Skywalker that is going to be unveiled in the next couple of years on Disney+, that'll give fans a fresh take on the film. Now, specifically, with the Skywalker saga now finished, both Disney and Lucasfilm are indeed developing their new Star Wars universe and their new trilogy as well in order to create a better future for the franchise. Now, both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are described to be making major plans to reunite the Star Wars fans in order to make Star Wars as successful as possible. It's described that one major project they are working on is the Rise of Skywalker 4-hour cut, also known as the Lucas cut of the film, that is aimed to arrive on Disney Plus sometime in 2023 during the holiday season that will include dozens of deleted scenes and a new take on the movie. So mind you guys, we're still quite a ways off until when we're even going to get a glimpse of this thing, mind you. Now, further, it's said that one of the major sequences that will be included in the 4-hour cut is said to be a brand new opening version of the film that involves Kylo Ren on the world of Mustafar, fighting a cult that protects Darth Vader's castle. Now, let me just pause right here for a second, is that, yes, the final cut of the movie that we got to see in theaters, it did include Mustafar in the very beginning. I'm sure a lot of you guys might not even know this, because it didn't even tell us in the movie, but the very beginning of the film where we have Kylo Ren, going over to that red planet, destroying those cultists, if you will, that is all on Mustafar. And they didn't really make it all that clear. A lot of fans out there were very confused, like, what is this world? It's got like trees that are growing, or at least trying to grow, but they just keep burning. Well, that's Mustafar. It's explained in canon that the environment changes over the years. And those trees that you see are actually the environment trying to change, but it keeps getting burnt down, essentially. Now, the original opening of Episode 9 was going to include a more in-depth sequence of Mustafar and Darth Vader's castle. This was exactly when J.J. Abrams was very much inspired by Colin Trevorrow, the original writer and director of Episode 9, Duel of the Fates, and what he was doing with his version of Episode 9, and how J.J. Abrams really wanted to actually use a lot of his ideas that Kathleen Kennedy did not let him do at the end of the day. Now, with that being said, of course, the new cut of The Rise of Skywalker, of all things, alright, is set to include a deleted scene that will involve Kylo Ren traveling into Darth Vader's castle, since he senses a dark presence there and is searching for answers about his grandfather, Vader. This is where Kylo travels inside and discovers the remains of Darth Vader's armor that were discovered by the cult that actually found it at Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple and stole it from Luke and transported it back over to Vader's castle. Now, the scene would then progress to a segment in which Kylo Ren would begin to hear voices, or whispers if you will, of ancient Sith spirits reaching out to him, followed by the breathing of Darth Vader. These voices would lead Kylo Ren to an underground Sith Cave, to which Kylo Ren would eventually witness the spirit of Darth Vader traveling outside of a strange structure and appearing before Kylo. Now, once again, I just want to actually explain that the hybrid Force ghost of Darth Vader was supposed to be a thing in The Force Awakens. J.J. Abrams had this massive idea to include the concept of Vader's spirit switching back and forth between Anakin and Vader. Basically a constant struggle between the light and the dark. How this was possible, I'm not quite sure. I guess it fits more in line with how Palpatine talks about how all the Sith spirits live within him. It could also explain as to why Palpatine in the final cut of the movie was able to emulate Darth Vader's voice. You know, it's very possible that maybe it's more than just Palpatine emulating Vader's voice in Kylo's head. It could very well fall directly in line with this major deleted scene that dealt with Vader's Sith spirit being actually a thing. So, beyond all of this, alright, this was J.J. Abrams' original take on the hybrid Force ghost, to where Vader's Sith spirit switches between the appearance of Anakin and how he appeared on Mustafar, from Episode 3 with the hood over his head, to Vader's suit with a cracked helmet design. Now, that's a very interesting aspect by JJ, the fact that he wanted to explore Anakin Skywalker / Vader almost being one as a Sith spirit. Very interesting concept. This is exactly what you see in, I believe, the art book of The Force Awakens, how you see 3 different phases of the hybrid Force ghost and how it switches back and forth. So Vader's castle would eventually progress to the Sith Cave, and now the Sith Cave is actually known in canon. We never really got to see it in great detail, but Episode 9 was supposed to really fall into that territory. Now, George Lucas was also involved in the development of these scenes that they actually are going to include in the new cut of Episode 9. The scene would then develop into a new horror-esque scene in which Kylo walks toward the Vader spirit that is moving across the Sith Cave, which holds spewing lava on each side for Kylo to discover Vader's broken lightsaber, divided into 3 pieces that were discovered by the cult and placed in the Sith Cave. I want to focus on the Sith Cave for a second here, is that we can already tell that it's modeled after Ralph McQuarrie's original version of Palpatine's throne room from Return of the Jedi. How it had lava, and how in the middle it had like a little bit of a bridge leading to the throne. That's exactly what the Sith Cave under Darth Vader's castle was originally intended to appear as. Very interesting of how J.J. Abrams, at the very minimum, did his research and really took a lot of work by Ralph McQuarrie and tried to really insert it into this massive opening of Episode 9. Moving on. Now, it's described that the cult was responsible for unleashing Vader's spirit from the charred armor of Vader that they found on Luke's world, the location of Luke's Jedi Temple. This, of course, would then progress to a moment in which Kylo Ren would take the broken Vader saber as he stares at the Sith spirit of Vader. Vader's spirit does not talk, however provides whispers in the form of ancient Sith language that Kylo Ren tries to translate in his mind, as he has been studying the ancient Sith language from one of the books that he discovered in the Outer Rim territory on an unknown world that the Sith once hid at. This major opening of Episode 9 is set to give a bigger story to Kylo Ren, and the origin of the world Mustafar, and the true meaning of the ancient Sith as well. John Williams also composed a track for the original opening of Episode 9 that J.J. Abrams, George Lucas, and Chris Terrio were working very hard on. So, like I've said, this obviously already ties directly into Colin Trevorrow's work and what he was trying to establish in Duel of the Fates. I'm sure that you guys actually have seen, you know, all the leaked scripts that he was actually engaged in. Very superior film, I must add. Colin's movie was far original than what J.J. Abrams, I guess you could safely say, was forced to do by Kathleen Kennedy. So yeah, guys, you know, like I've said before in the past, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know anything about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.